I love it. There's days I hate it when things go wrong and the weather's crap, and there's days it's hard, but 90% of the time it's one of the best jobs in the world. I absolutely love it.
So Damian, you're the man to call whenever there's a bit of wet ground about.
Seems to be. That seems to be my forte, my speciality at the moment.
And this year's bound to been busy for you.
Oh, this year's been really busy. It's been non-stop for the last 6 weeks. So there's been a very, very wet March, and that led to a wet April, and there has rarely been 2 dry days in a row.
So with all the wet weather there recently, like the quad's just the answer for that wet ground.
It seems to be. I have been exceptionally busy this year. I'll be honest, I haven't had a year like it. It's been, since the 11th of February I started sowing, and it's been steady, very steady since, like every day. And been covering ground here, there and everywhere. So, and a lot of the new customers this year too, probably because it's been so wet, they can't get on the ground, and they've been talking to neighbours or seen on Facebook or whichever, and I've ended up sowing for them too.
Yeah, I see, like there's a few boys out with fertiliser sowers today now, but there's still that wet bit of ground about.
Aye, you see yourself a couple of them there fields where I was on earlier on, and they're,
swamp nearly.
They'd be hard enough to walk across.
Yeah.
So what? And I'm just about skimming across the top of them and getting by okay. But to send a tractor in there, I don't know. It wouldn't be the way to go. Like, and there's a lot of, like, that's crops there. Like, there's a lot of silage ground in the country as the same. You couldn't go onto it at all with a tractor. And
see, you're running GPS on your quad.
I am, yes. It's a very basic. It's Trimble Easy Guide 250. It's very, very basic. It's not going, there's no section control or anything like that there, but it keeps me right and it keeps me where I need to be every time.
I say, but a lot of boys would be happy with that now.
Oh,
the GPS.
they are. It's funny. That's the questions I get asked on the phone. I see you're on a GPS there. I say, I am. That's the job now. So it is. They seem to be keen on the GPS compared to maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I wasn't running the GPS. It was a harder sell to get farmers on board with sowing with a quad.
Yeah, the only way you could sell to them was just that it was lighter, really.
Aye, that on wet years that was the fact that it was so light. Now it's more the fact that it's GPS. Mm-hmm. So it is okay. My footprint, I'm full of fertiliser. I'm still weighing under a ton, but the GPS is a bigger seller now than the lighter footprint.
So how exactly did you end up getting into this job here?
Oh, how did I get started? 2013, my dad bought a wee sprayer for the back of the bike, and I think I was doing ditch backs around our own couple of fields. One of the neighbours up the road, he was looking to plough a field, but he wanted it burned off, and I went up. It was a 4-acre field, and I burned it off for him, and that's then put the seed in my head. And I done a bit of research into it, and there was nobody doing it. And then I come across a second-hand sower, the same as that there, and I bought it. And in 2014, the spring of 2014, I started to advertise on Facebook and in the local papers, and that's where it went from there. That would have been just me working in the evenings and the weekends, like 2014, 2017, and then February 2018, when it was wet. I thought, right, I'll give it a go for 1 year. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, sure, what about it? And sure, what? This is 2023 and we're still going.
So have you managed to make a full-time job of it then?
This is my job. This is my full-time job. Now in the winter time it does get a bit quieter, but my season's from mid-February to December now. So a month, 6 weeks in the winter, I'll always find something to do.
How do you get on in the cold days?
A good coat and a hat.
A good coat and a hat.
It's not that bad. It probably looks worse than it is. It is cold, and the morning times is cold. But see, once you're at it you're fine. Like a thick coat, a good hat, a pair of gloves, and I'm content. I'm happy.
You're bound on a good warm pair of socks.
Aye, a good thick one. Aye. Long johns on the cold days too. But them waterproof overalls I wear, like they come up to there, like they're bib braced, and to be fair, they keep a lot of wind off you. And then I have a good heavy coat there, keeps me nice and warm too. It's a good heavy Snickers one. That's a great coat. So, no, I'm happy enough. I can't be second.
So do you enjoy the work then on the quad?
I do. I love it. It's not a job. It's not a job. I don't know. I'm happy. I love it. Okay, there's days I hate it when things go wrong and the weather's crap, and you know, there's days it's hard, but 90% of the time it's one of the best jobs in the world. I absolutely love it.
I'd say you see some scenes because you're travelling rightly up the country.
Oh, you do. Some of the places I be is amazing. Like, you know, you could be up in Donegal, all the way around the north coast. You know, down County Armagh, down in Enniskillen, anywhere, absolutely anywhere. So actually, the furthest I've been to the Wicklow Mountains. I've been spraying on top of the Wicklow Mountains for an outfit down there a couple of years ago. That was brilliant.
What way do you transport the quad then?
Jeeping the trailer. I have a wee 14-foot beaver tail trailer there. Run it up on, set of ramps, strap it down. You know, I'm based out of just outside Mahara, a wee village called Swatra. I can be anywhere in the north within an hour and 15 minutes. You know, that's a big bonus.
Yeah.
So
the fact that you have the car.
You know, like I can leave the house early and be in a man's yard before 7 o'clock, and it's still not a stupid early start.
Yeah.
So it's not. Or on the other side of that, you know, when the longer evenings come, you can work on an extra hour or two to 9 o'clock at night, and you're still an hour away from home. You know, it's not that. It's not, you know, if you were to do that travelling time in a tractor, you know, you'd be 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whereas I'm 45 minutes to an hour. It wouldn't be ideal.
So would the crops be the busiest, or would it be the silage ground that would be the busiest for you?
And normally, or what used to be, it was grass. And as the last 3 or 4 years, the crops have, the acres of the crops have aged up, you know, and I would still say it's the grass, it's the dairy farmers. Well, now anyway, it's the dairy farmers for their silage ground and their grazing, and then sort of from mid-April on, the beef farmers will start to come in, you know, them boys that are cutting later and maybe runs their cattle grazing first, then sows their fertiliser and cuts afterwards. Like, but predominantly it was grass. Now the crops have built up a good client base for the crops. You know, there could be 1,000, 1,500 acres of cereals been done, you know, easily.
I take it with the crops that you drive over, like they'll spring up again, won't they?
They will. I'm normally on them a lot earlier than I am now. This is the top dress here, so technically I shouldn't be doing this, but because it's a wet year and them fields are so wet, I have to. There's no other option. Yeah. You know, it's either going to make a mess,
go to the field with a tractor,
or else going to make a mess and run the risk of getting the tractor stuck, or let me go on and go up the middle of the tram lines, and it should bounce back, but you'll have minimal losses compared to going on and making a hash.
Yeah.
So then I can put dual wheels in this as well. If I know it's going to be wet ground, I'll put the dual wheels on, and it floats.
Help you float. Yeah.
That makes a wild difference. The dual wheels.
Must be bad ground in dual wheels in a quad.
When I sowed this back in February, I had the dual wheels on, and I needed them.
Yeah.
And today I could have used them, but just because of the fact the crops were so high and we didn't want to push, you know, be too detrimental on them, we just went with what we had, and it's turned out really well actually. So okay, the crops are high, but you know, that's the second run of fertiliser on it. They'll get a good bit of heat, and that comes in now, and them crops will take out of the ground very quickly. But like I'm on the ground earlier. That's where I'm making a difference.
That's where all the advantages are. Like.
You know, if I'm travelling in February, why not? You know, why not? It makes more sense.
It does.
So it does. You know,
definitely.
Say like little compaction. You know, say I weigh less than a ton full of fertiliser.
Well, Damian, thanks again for having us out.
No problem at all. It's been a pleasure. It's been nice having you out.
Yeah, it's an interesting wee setup now.
It's a bit different than the norm, so it is.
Yeah, definitely very relevant this year anyway.
It is. But look, we get the job done. That's the main. The farmer's happy. That's the main thing.